This is Jeff Epps, and we are about to stream live here from FSU, AGORA. You are currently looking at an AGORA classroom. This is our 9th grade cohort. Here students are learning how to code in Python.
That's right. Wait till it's down.
Change whatever you want to change as long as it works and you know what it did. I want you guys to give, don't you have to ask permission to change the code. Make it work. And try to impress us. Okay. Corinne, did you know that, but it's exactly right? Okay, so it works. It's something wrong with this line here. Let's see. I don't really care about that. It says what it's still saying, oh, it's saying number and then it's going null. Is something supposed to go at the end of that statement? Space. Why is your input not working with that? Alright, where all my mentees go? Can I borrow one of you high-class coders over here real quick? Because his is doing something real strange. As it turns out, I'm just a science teacher. Alright. She's gonna come down here. Brittany's gonna come down here in a second, saves the day. She's gonna come look at yours because I'm not exactly sure because I just typed it in twice and it should have worked both times. Alright, we're gonna go on to another activity here.
All right, hey everybody, this is Jeff Epps, and I'm here at AGORA at Fayetteville State. Now, before we begin, let's talk about what AGORA is. AGORA is it's an initiative set forth by the Office of Naval Research. It is a 3-year grant, and its purpose is to create a tech pipeline. That's its goal, create a tech pipeline. Now, we started in 2014 with a group of 9th graders. And those 9th graders then became 10th graders, and we brought in a new group of 9th graders. And this year, in our 3rd year, we brought in another group of 9th graders. And we've exposed them to various technologies, computer programming, 3D design, as well as 3D modeling and 3D simulation. So today, I'm going to take you through each cohort and describe to you exactly what it is that they are learning. So we're going to start with this year's 9th grade cohort. Now, this cohort will undergo 64 hours of computer programming. Now, why is that? Because computer programming basically trains them to think like an engineer. It gives them the soft skills that they need in order to be engineers. For example, logical thinking, problem solving, as well as controlling the sequence of events. And these are the same soft skills that they need when they go into the English classroom. Because it's a popular misconception that math skills and computer programming go hand in hand, and they do, but writing code for a computer is the same as writing code in an English classroom. So I'm going to flip the camera here, and you are now live in the AGORA classroom. Now, what you're seeing here is you're seeing our instructors and our mentors working with students. I'm going to zoom in here on Brittany. There's Brittany there working with a student. Brittany is a computer science major, and we have computer science majors that are here acting as mentors, working with the students on their coding projects. Now keep in mind, there's Sharday there. She's one of our mentors as well. These are ninth graders that have never, ever been exposed to computer programming. But they're learning computer programming, but they're also learning Algebra 1. Yes, Algebra 1. The Achilles heel of all high schools. Each student gets a laptop that's assigned to them, and they are currently coding their first project. Each cohort has about 50 students in it. They're from various high schools here in Cumberland County and Richmond County. If you were to enroll in a computer programming class, you would take a Python programming class. So this is a class that people pay for at the college level. These kids are getting exposed to it at no cost, but we're also looking to solve the Algebra 1 problem that plagues our schools. As you can see, our demographics are diverse. We've got boys, we've got girls.
I do math for fun. I taught myself calculus. Because calculus is beautiful. It's the ballroom dance good math.
That should work.
Alright kids, most of you are about there. I'm going to provide you guys now with a little bit of a challenge.
Now that's Mr. Drew
The
Blazo.
whole point here
Drew
is to, well, let's reel it in.
is a
Make sure everybody's got
physics,
here.
an
Here's the
AP
little
physics
screen, 50
teacher
seconds.
at E.E. Smith High School. He is one of the STEM master teachers here.
Alright. I'll provide you guys with a challenge. Make sure that we're all do be accurate, because about 2/3 of you mastered what I just asked you to do, and we'll make sure that I continue to challenge you here. So I'm going to go ahead.
Now the interesting concept is that back in 2010, we had this crazy idea of getting high school students to come to school on Saturday. And what we discovered is that if you feed them, you make it fun, they'll come to school on Saturday. And that's what they're doing right now. They're going to be here. They're here from 9 to 4 on Saturday. 9 to 4. And they show up. They show up all the time here, right here at Fayetteville State, at the AGORA program.
I'm going to type it up here in a
So
second.
they're learning computer programming with Python. Let's tune back
One
in.
of the places where you got to get a lot of inputs that you experience every day, where there's a lot of calculations happening, without you realizing there's a lot of calculations happening, is when you go to any store. That machine, when you check out, it's got to take the price of that item. It has to apply what? Because it never just costs what you said it was going to cost. What do you have to add to it? Yeah, there's tax. So you've got to add tax onto the cost of your item. And then sometimes, in about, now we're bringing about ADD. There's tax, which adds money, but sometimes you don't have to pay as much. What do you do that? When you take money off the cost. Yeah, there might be a discount. Maybe you've got a coupon. Maybe you've got some sort of promotional code. Maybe it gives you a percentage off. All right? What we're going to do is I'm going to type it up here. But what I want you to do is create a Python code that will get 3 numbers from the user. It has to get the cost of the item. It needs to get the sales tax. The users type that in.
So now our students are being
They have to
given
type in their discount. What
a
percent off
challenge.
are they
They're
getting?
coding a real world problem.
Alright, so you need to get those 3 numbers from the user, have it print them, and then give the total price the user would pay. So we're looking for the cost of the item, the sales tax rate, so that percentage, And then we're looking for a discount rate. What % off are you giving them? What special sale are you running? And
Now,
then
keep
it's
in
got to
mind,
tell them what the total
challenge
cost of the
that
item
they're
will be.
giving is
So
an
you got to get those
actual
3 numbers from the
challenge
user,
that they will see
and then have it show it on the
on
screen.
the end of
Okay.
course test.
So just remember
But
how you work
instead
with
of working it
percentages,
out on
because if
pens
they
and
type in
paper, they're
25%
actually
off,
writing code
how does
to
that work in
solve
the
this
computer?
problem.
Right. Yeah, so you gotta make sure you're using your decimals correctly. All right. So that's your challenge. I'm gonna type it up on the board here so you can reference it. All right. Now everybody go ahead and get started on that. It's been working on for a little while. To test that you can do these skills I just taught you how to do. Are you typing it?
Enter the costs, do the tax, and then after you do the tax, you do the discount, then after you do that.
Yeah.
So fill it out.
Well, I'm
Cost,
saying
tax,
like it's
discount.
general. So they got enter the tax rate. Yeah, still good. Still gonna fight. I don't know. I never really thought about the tax rate would probably come back to this. But anyways, however they want to solve it. Okay, just flag me down and solve it. Just scoot it over so they can. Yeah, well, it's just right now all we can see is. We're still on Super Zoom. Just leave that page open.
2 minutes, do you want to step down, introduce who you are, and then introduce the chancellor? Sounds good. 2 minutes. Okay, so in a moment, we're going to hear from the chancellor here at Fayetteville State. AGORA is one of his favorite projects, so you're going to hear the chancellor live and hear him address this group of 9th graders.
Okay. I'm gonna come around, kind of middle around.
What's your name, young man?
Ahmad,
Where you go to school, Ahmad?
Reed Ross.
Reed Ross. You liking this so far? You got any problem coming to school on Saturday?
No, sir.
No? No, we're gonna feed you. You heard the food was good, right? So it's fun and we're gonna feed you, so that makes you wanna come? Hey, that's good, man. Fist bump? All right, be good.
What do you want to say? Make sure that your prom.
Hello,
Hi,
what's your name?
Caitlin Patterson.
Caitlin Patterson. Caitlin, where do you go to school?
Reed Ross.
Reed Ross, another Reed Ross student.
I
Wow.
actually go to school with Ahmad.
You actually go to school with Ahmad. So let me ask you something. You glad to be here on a Saturday? Yeah?
Yeah, actually, I was really looking forward to it all week, and then, yeah,
So this is your first Agora Saturday and you're loving it?
yes.
Like, you're kind of waiting for lunch too? Did you hear about the lunch? It's
Yeah.
pretty good stuff.
My sister says it's really good here.
Oh, cool. Your sister goes to school here?
No, she's in cohort 2.
Your sister. So it's a family affair, right? It's a
Yeah.
family affair. So what? Tell us. Now we're streaming to the internet, right? So tell everybody out there on the internet exactly what you're working on.
Well, I'm working on kind of a project. So, like when you go to the store, you buy something. So I need to figure out the cost, and then the discount, the tax, and then calculate the total price. And I need to do that all in coding.
Wow. And what programming language are you using?
The Python interpreter?
So Python, for the people out there who don't know what Python is that like the big giant snake that wraps itself around you and squeezes the life out of you or something? Is that what you're doing? You're not programming on a snake, are you?
No, it's a program on the computer.
Ah, it's a program on the computer. Very cool. All right, so we're going to come back and check on you with this project and see how it's going, okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, for all of you out there in internet land, you know, at Agora we have girl power, and that's what you're seeing right here. This is girl power right here. You've got Sade and Brittany and Daphne. There's Daphne back there. Wave, Daphne. There you are. Okay, so they are mentors. They work with our students on the coding. Their computer program, computer science classes.
We still gotta get all 3 values to input, get an input for each of them. Okay, yes, and so far, yes. Those first steps.
Okay, everyone, let us have your attention.
So someone tells you make a piece of
Good morning. I'm Dr. Kent. I'm the Executive Director for the Center for Defense and Homeland Security. And the AGORA program, which you are members of now, is part of that center. But I wanted to introduce myself to you and just, you met the team. But welcome you to the program over the next year. We hope you really enjoy it. Got a lot of good things for the summer. If you haven't seen already, we're lining up. Here in about 2 weeks, we're taking 50 of your teammates out of the other group up to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where they can see up where the first nuclear bomb was built, and those things at Oak Ridge National Lab. So things like that we want to just expose you to, so that you can understand what science, technology, engineering, math really are, and then things like computer programming, and just really open up your eyes to the art of the possible, and help you with some decision making over the next 2 or 3 years. It's a privilege for me to introduce you to my boss, Chancellor Anderson, and he is the Chancellor for Fayetteville State University and sponsor for the total program.
Well, good morning to all of you. First of all, I want to welcome you to our campus, give you a formal welcome to our campus if you've never been on our campus before. We are, as you know, part of the University of North Carolina system. There are 17 institutions in the system, one of which is a high school. But I only want to say 3 things to you. One, do you know why you're here? Somebody tell me. Because you're the best and the brightest. That's why you're here. Never forget that. Never forget you're the best and the brightest, because you're going to face all kind of challenges down the road, and you have to have self-confidence. I hold the distinction. Cornell University is an Ivy League school, like Harvard, Yale, Cornell, Columbia, etc. So I was the first African American to get a PhD in psychology. Had I not had confidence, starting from those nuns in my Catholic elementary school, up through high school, up through college, they gave me confidence that I could do whatever I wanted. And even though Cornell was extremely hard and the psychology department was hard, I made it through because I had that confidence. People kept telling me, you're one of the best and the brightest. You can do it. Never give up. Well, this is where it starts for you. You already know it from the school you're at. You already know that you're one of the best and the brightest at the school you're in. But now, as you start moving forward in this program, then into other programs, you're going to face challenges. We take people to Oak Ridge National Lab because that's where the heavyweights are. The heavyweights up at Oak Ridge National Lab. Okay, there's only a few national labs in the country, and they're big research labs and the heavyweights there. So we start you off young, wanting to give you exposure to that. Second thing is that you're going to work in groups. There's going to be some competition sometimes, but it's healthy competition. Okay? Always keep that in mind. Healthy competition. Never let your ego get in the way and think you're better than somebody else. That's not what it's about. It's healthy competition where you support each other, but you can still compete and have fun, because the best will come out of all of you when you compete that way, in a healthy, positive way. But never let your ego get in the way. I'll tell you a little story from last year. The first day last year, just like when all the group came together, we went around and the students introduced themselves and where they went to high school, and one kid stood up and said, everybody in here needs to fear me, because I'm the gamer. He had given himself a name. He said, I'm the gamer. He said, and I know more than all of y'all. See, his ego was that big, that big. And so I laughed and I said to the rest of the students, hey, this guy's throwing the gauntlet down on you. He said he's better than you. You gonna let that happen, or you gonna disprove him this year? Okay? And it ended up during the whole period being healthy fun. Okay? But this is what this guy thought of himself. So you can tell his ego was that big. Okay? So healthy competition, but you're really here to support one another. And the last thing is that you'll be surprised how much difference this will make down the road in your life. Okay? You see the 11th grade, the students in the 11th grade who've been here 3 years as part of this program. Okay? When they get ready to apply to college and to grad school down the road, etc., this is going to be significant on their resume. They'll be able to talk about, they will have probably done experiments, research projects, been to Oak Ridge, etc. That's what's going to separate them from other students who apply. Think about students who apply to, say, Duke. Everybody's good. Everybody has a high GPA. Everybody's done service in the community. What's going to separate you from them? Well, it's something like this. And think about it. Your friends, most of them, are home asleep right now. You're not. You're not. Because you have the motivation to step beyond the being average or just being, regular. You have the motivation to step beyond it and be here on Saturday mornings, which is great, which is great. So we thank you for being here. Hope you have a great time. Anything we can do for you here at the university, just let us know, okay? Thanks.
Okay, so pay attention today to these kind of tasks, because a little over half of you are gonna get invited back for the summer, where we're gonna train you more advanced Python coding. You'll get paid a paycheck for that month while you're here. Did you know that? How many of you knew that? Half of you?
They heard that part.
You heard that part? But you know, the part that I like is those top 15 of that half, we give them scholarships for college, whether you come here or not. The winning team takes home $2,000 each for a scholarship. I think it's $10,000 for the winning team, $5,000 for the second place team, and $2,500 for third place. And it's all on how well you learn what you're learning. So we are one, going to compensate you for making the goal to get to that. And then we're going to add a little extra to it for those of you that really want to excel and focus on this STEM-related field. So as you're going through the next 10 Saturdays, have a lot of fun, be competitive, and we're here to help you get to the next level. Thanks.
All right, so you've heard it. You've heard from the Chancellor, you've heard from Dr. Brian Kent. This is the program, this is where you want to be. This is where you want your students to be on Saturday. Agora. Go to our site, agoranation.com. That takes you to our Facebook page. Go to Fayetteville State's page. Call, find out what you need to do, how you can get this program in your neighborhood. This is Agora. All right, so now I'm going to take you over to I call these my elite group. Now, if Agora was a true nation and this was our army, okay, these would be my new recruits. And as you can see, we break them in right. But now, I'm going to take you over to our special forces. This group right here is my elite group. If Agora Nation had an army, this would be my elite special forces. This group has had 64 hours of coding. 64 hours. There's nothing we can throw at this group that they haven't seen before. Now, what are we introducing them to this year? 3D modeling and 3D simulation, because they already know how to code. And the thing is when you want to code something or design a simulation, it's one thing to create the objects, but then you have to make the objects interact with each other, okay? And that requires coding. So that's why we took this particular group, the group you're about to meet, these 10th graders, through 64 hours of coding. So we get that out of the way, okay? So now, I'm going to take you in. It looks like the Chancellor is addressing this group, but I want you to get a quick look at them, and then we'll kind of talk with them a little bit about their experience, okay? All right.
I told them a story about last year. The first opening day came and students introduced themselves. One student got up and said, "I'm a gamer." He said, "Everybody in here needs to fear me. I'm the gamer." Remember him? And I looked at some up. Is he in here? Is the gamer still here?
He's in the other class.
I gotta go find the gamer. That's my man. His ego that big, right? Somebody stand up and say that. But by the same token, he threw the challenge down to everybody. He threw the challenge down and says, "Hey, I'm better than you all. I'm a gamer." Okay? So hopefully his ego got a little less deflated. But it's healthy competition. That's what we want from you all. And being, when you get a chance, help the young folks that come along over there. They need to know all that you know. Okay? It's a great
Has been one of our STEM master teachers.
Huh?
Oh, sorry, no, I'm sorry. I just wanted to know if we could visit the freshmen, because we don't know who they are yet.
When we break for lunch here in a minute, y'all all be together again like you normally are. She'll get to meet each other.
Okay, cool.
We'll all go to lunch together.
That's a good, well, I'm glad you brought that up, and we'll make sure that you guys get a chance to talk to them.
All right, so I'm going to introduce you now to our 10th graders. This is my elite special forces right here. If Agora had an army, this would be my elite special forces group right here. I mean, they are deadly. You throw anything at this group as a challenge, and they attack it, and they annihilate it. So let's tune in. All right, right now they're installing software, and they're installing 3ds Max, which is software that's going to allow them to design in 3D. I'm going to stop right here real quick. What's your name?
Layla,
Layla, where do you go to school?
71st.
She's a Falcon. You are a Falcon. So this is year 2 for you in Agora. Tell me about year 1. You went through 64 hours of computer programming. What was that like?
It gets frustrating at first because you have to figure out things and break things down to understand it. And you have to brace yourself, and come back to it sometimes, but it gets interesting.
It got interesting, but it was hard at first?
Yeah.
Right. Now, what do we say about things that are hard here at Agora? If it was easy, what? Do you remember that from last year? I said it all year last year. All right, listen up real quick. We're live on the internet. I have a saying, and that saying is, if it was easy,
Everybody would do it.
thank you, Mr. O. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, okay? I've just told the audience that this group right here is my deadliest group right here. If Agora had an army, this would be my elite special forces unit right here. This is the group. When you give them a challenge, they go after that challenge and they annihilate it. They don't even bother to leave anything standing. They go through, they torch the earth and burn the buildings. This is my group right here, 64 hours of coding. And now we're going to teach them how to design in 3D and simulate in 3D, so that before they even go after and attack the problem, they'll simulate it and make sure that it works. All right, so real quick, I'm going to zoom in on this young man. He is not a student, okay? He is not an Agora student. He's a Fayetteville State student. His name is Tyreek Thompson. Now, let me switch this around. Tyreek and I have a history together, okay? And I have to tell this story real quick. See, I met Tyreek when he was,
I was in 9th grade.
he was in the 9th grade. All right, so he was in the 9th grade when I met him at Richmond Senior High School, and we had this crazy idea of bringing high school students in on Saturday. And we realized real quick that if you fed them and you made it fun, they would continue to show up. And that's what Tyreek did. He showed up every time we got together. But the interesting thing was, he ended up taking scientific visualization in high school. And something amazing happened when he took scientific visualization in high school. He went to this particular competition. I'm gonna let him tell you about this competition. There we go. All right, Tyreek, tell us about what happened at TSA.
Well, it was my senior year in high school, and myself, along with a group of other students currently taking the class with me, 3rd level inside this, we entered into the 3ds Max portion of the competition, and we had to create a video where we designed based off of a topic, we designed a whole area. Actually, our topic was GPS, and we actually had to give information about it in the video in terms of what we designed in 3ds Max, had to portray what we were discussing and defining as GPS. And because of that, we took 1st place at the state, and we took 1st place at the national competition as well.
Now, folks, well, what are you studying here at Fayetteville State right now?
I'm actually studying geography and intelligence studies with a concentration in geospatial intelligence. And the thing about that was, I thought that 3ds Max couldn't mix into it until I went to the USGIF conference in Florida this past May. And there I met an individual who was presenting a poster where she helped students design things from a GIS perspective in 3ds Max. And it was that moment when I realized that this 3ds Max can mix with GIS. And because of that, I haven't yet been able to explore it yet, but I do plan to explore just how far those two things can mix together.
Wow. Now, folks, now look, half of you probably don't even understand what his major is, right? GIS, right? GPS, GIS, all that stuff. Well, let me just break it down for you. Do you use your phone to get from one place to the other? If you do, then basically that's what he's studying. And this has tremendous applications in the future. Drones are going to come and drop your groceries off at your house, but that drone will know how to get to your house based on GIS. Okay, so now, only thing I can say about Tyreek, and let me switch the camera back around him because he's such a handsome, strapping, handsome young man, and I'm so proud of him. Me and Mr. O are extremely proud of him. But the thing about it is, I have no idea what Tyreek will be doing in the next, I'm just going to say next 3 years because he's a junior, but I know it's going to be something amazing. And the interesting thing is, we exposed him to 3ds Max in 2010, and 6 years later, he is still using that application in college. But the thing about it is, it was about exposure. At the time, now Tyreek, I'm gonna switch the camera back around on you. Now, when we had you in there creating all these different shapes and stuff like that, you just kind of went with the flow at that time, right? You really didn't understand what you were doing, but you just did it.
Pretty much.
And now it's starting to make sense, and now you're creating a career out of it, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Tyreek now is also one of the mentors here at Fayetteville State, and it only seems right that he is now working with the class that is going to learn what he learned back in 2010. In 2010, hold on a second. How old were you in 2010? How old were you? 10. You were 10 years old. I guess you were 10 years old, 9 years old or something. So they were still running around playing with Pokemon when he...
I still run.
And he still does Pokemon.
I still do.
But the thing about it is, when he was learning this in high school, they were still in elementary school, right? So now he's coming back and working with these students on the very program that he learned back in 2010. That's the purpose of AGORA. That's the purpose of exposure to emerging technologies. And the thing about it is, folks, here at AGORA, we're ahead of the technology curve. Technology changes every 2 to 3 years. It transforms an industry every 3 to 5 years, which means in 5 years, when these guys are graduating, when you guys graduate? I graduate next year. You graduate, oh, let me see here. You graduate next year, right? And you graduate in 2 years. All right, so in the next 5 years, there will be a skills gap for these young people. Technology will have changed an industry, that an industry will do something completely different, and they'll have to have, there will be a demand for skilled workers that know how to do it. But guess what? The stuff they're learning here in AGORA, that stuff is still 5-6 years out. So by the time they get into the workforce, these skills will just be maturing and they'll be ahead of the curve. That's what happens here at AGORA. All right, let's continue our trip around the room here, because I have someone I want everyone to meet. Slide up there, gentlemen. Now, this young lady right here, this one right here. Now, first of all, I think you play tennis. Do you play tennis? You're a tennis? Are you like the next Serena? I bet you could beat Serena now, couldn't you? You probably could. You're just being modest, probably. But, so, tell everybody where you live now.
Charlotte.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? That wasn't like a glitch in the internet. Charlotte, North Carolina. Folks, we're in Fayetteville. Okay, that's like a 2.5, 3 hour drive with no traffic. Okay, now she used to live here in Fayetteville. She now goes to Charlotte, and she's come all the way back to AGORA. You got to tell everybody why. Why did you come back? You could have easily said, you know what? I can't come back. I'm gonna keep the laptop. I'm gone. I'm ghost.
I wanted to learn how to code and to help with college.
She wanted to learn how to. You want to learn how to code, and it's going to help with college. Now, what are your aspirations for college?
Either engineering or medical school.
Engineering or medical school. Wow. Now, look, she kind of has that. She kind of has that engineering look about her. Like she's just gonna like walk into a room at NASA and tell them they're all doing it wrong, and if they did it this way, that rocket probably would take off better or something like that. But thank you so much for coming back. We love having you, and I just think it's amazing that you're making that trek from Charlotte. It shows just how bad you want it. All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right. So now we have one of our Richmond Raiders here.
Yeah.
And you are?
Colin Goodwin.
Colin Goodwin. You know, folks, here's the interesting thing now. I used to dunk on his daddy back in the day on the playground. That's right, Wilson. If you're looking, you remember it now. I used to dunk on you back on the playground, son. You remember that, right? I hope you watching. I got your baby up in here now. I'll dunk on him too. All right, here we go. How you doing, Colin?
Doing good.
You doing good? What are you doing here today, man?
Right now, I'm trying to open up 3D software and make a snowman, which boss lady over there only gives me 20 minutes to do.
Who does?
The boss lady over there.
The boss lady over there? Is that Kiana?
Yes, Kiana.
She gave you a time limit?
Yes.
She's enforcing time limits on you already?
Yes.
Who does she think she is?
She thinks she's my boss.
She thinks she's your boss. Well, apparently she is because you're doing it. All right. So, let's make our way around the room. This is Agora, folks. They're getting ready. They're installing software.
Oh yeah, software, man. Software. It's intense.
Look at that. All right, so now this is a complete install
That's it.
of software with 3ds Max.
I don't want to touch it. I'm scared.
This is what's so cool about it. You get to work in all these different perspectives. Look at that, folks. Those of you out there on the internet, this is what the engineers use when they design something. They use this software, and yes, it looks massively confusing.
It is confusing.
It is massively confusing. Guess what? If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. Now, I'm going to come over here because I want to talk with Connor. Connor?
Yeah.
Tell us about the hackathon.
Oh, the hackathon. That
And
was,
you placed second last year,
placed
right?
second, yeah.
And when they called your name for second place, after that week,
Yeah.
that grueling week where we threw all of those assignments at you, how did you feel when when your name was called?
Well, it felt like real amazing because like I really didn't even expect to like even place third. So when I didn't get called for third, I was like, oh well, that's it. I'm not gonna get any prizes. But like, oh, I actually won a prize. I was pretty surprised when I got a second. So it felt like pretty good to actually win something.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you are a Douglas Byrd Eagle, right?
Yep.
All right. So look, anybody out there from Douglas Byrd? Anybody know anybody from Douglas Byrd? Douglas Byrd is being represented right here at Agora.
And there.
And there.
Hi, Davion. We're representing.
Douglas Byrd. Douglas Byrd High, where you at? Where you are? Represent. Eagles. There we go. Now, I'm going to zoom in here. That's right. Now, Sydney Gibson. Now, Sydney and I have a history as well because Sydney almost had a small panic attack during the hackathon. You know, I'm gonna tell the story real quick because you know it was like I think it was the fourth day, right? Yeah, it was fourth day of the hackathon. We had thrown a lot at the students. They were competing for scholarship money, and Sydney comes up to me and she says, "Mr. Epps, I don't think I can do this." And I said, "Why not?" Sydney? She said, I just don't think I can do this. And you know what I told her? I said, "Sydney, I want you to walk out this room, walk up the hall, get yourself together, and get back in this room and get back in the game." Now, here's the interesting thing. Sydney, what do you do? What do you do? You are a what? What do you do? What sport do you run?
I run track.
She runs track. And I told her, I said, "Sydney, you train for hours and hours and days for approximately," what is your event?
The 100 and the 200.
So how long does that last when you actually do it?
Like the 100, maybe 12 seconds, and the 200, like 25.
So you train days and weeks and months to prove yourself in 25 seconds. And see, my theory to her was, if you can do that in 25 seconds, then you've trained for 8 months for 4 days.
Right.
And what was the result? What happened?
I actually placed first place.
You placed first. That's right. You placed first. How did you feel Okay, let me ask you this. How did you feel when they called the third place winners and your name wasn't in it?
I I don't know. I kind of felt like indifferent. I knew that I probably was just like not gonna win, but I had a little bit of hope because I was like, okay, maybe second. And then
Right.
second place came and they didn't call my name, and I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely lost this. And then when they called my name for first, I was like in complete shock. I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, did they like misprint this or whatever? And then when they called my name, I felt actually accomplished, and I felt like it was like all worth it.
Absolutely. It definitely is all worth it. Look, folks, don't be surprised if you turn on the Olympics and this young lady is there. I'm telling you, she's got the dedication, she's got the work ethic, and we're glad to have her here in Agora. All right. Give us a thumbs up there. Give us a thumbs up. All right. All right. And somebody else placed second. You placed second. So tell us, how did you feel when they called the third place group and you weren't in there?
I was like, I looked at my mom and she was looked at me and was like, oh my goodness. Because every day I went home, I'd be like, Mom, it was not good. It was not good. I felt like I did good, but then in the back of my mind, I was like, no, I didn't. So when they didn't call my name for third, I was like, okay, Mom, it's about over. And they called my name for second, and I was like in a complete utter shock. I did not know that was really gonna happen. And then when they would call Sydney for first, because I know Sydney was like, oh no.
So were y'all giving each other, were y'all looking at each other like, this ain't working out, this ain't working out, okay. Okay, so now what are your aspirations right now in terms of goals, and what do you want to do when you graduate?
I don't know. My mom was like, you need to be valedictorian. She tells me that all the time. I'm like, okay, Mom. But I don't really know. I just kind of, sometimes I like want to do like work with computers. Other times I want to do something else in medical. It's like a whole bunch of stuff. My mom tells me, you can do anything. So I'm like, I can do anything. So right now I'm just like running and doing my sports and my schoolwork. So
there's nothing wrong with that. And Sydney, what do you want to do? You thought you figured that out yet?
Yeah, I think I have. After high school, I plan on like going to either UGA or UNC at Charlotte.
Okay.
And I want to either go in the Air Force JRCC program and become JAG, which is a lawyer in the military, or just do government, political science, and become a
or maybe president, politician.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
That's
yeah,
right.
maybe.
All right. So folks, you heard it here. Look, Hillary and Donald, y'all, look, the next generation's coming, so you better be watching there. All right. Thank you, ladies. All right. So there's Mr. O, assistant students. Mr. O is one of our STEM master teachers here. Now I'm going to come on around. Yeah, I want everyone to meet my alter ego here. This is Mr. Castro. How are you, Mr. Castro?
I'm good.
All right, so what's happening today? What are you doing?
I'm installing the program that was given me from this flash drive.
Now, tell us about last year. You show up here, we throw all this coding at you. I mean, we're like, hurry up, code this, code that, and I have you on video. You whipped out your phone. I knew there was something strange about you at that point when everybody else was using their laptop and you were doing it on your phone. And I'm like, okay, so he gets it, right? He gets it. So now, tell us a little bit about, how do you think all of this coding has helped you in the classroom? Has it helped you any in the classroom?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. How has it helped you in the classroom?
Well, for example, like, it's helped me like be more observant, because when you write a code and you're like looking at it, sometimes you get it wrong, so you have to go back, you have to look through all the things. So for example, I'll be in math and like the instant like my teacher just like pull something up, like I know the answer just like that. Or it also helps like think outside the box, because like when you're writing the code, I mean like sometimes like when using different programs, the same code doesn't work.
Right.
So you have to change it up a little bit. So another class that it helps me in is for example, sociology.
Okay.
So I take sociology is the study of human interaction, or like the study of like people in groups, and so, you know, you can't assume the same thing for each individual person. So sometimes you have to think outside the box, like you do with a code, and you have to find like you kind of have to like observe different people differently to kind of get a feel of how they are and how they think.
Now, Mr. Castro, on the subject of sociology, now folks, there's a reason why I called him my alter ego, because I told them we were going to be streaming live today, and Mr. Castro pointed out immediately the reason why I was streaming live, and I'm going to let him tell you why I'm streaming live today. Go ahead, Mr. Castro, tell everybody.
Well, the reason why he's streaming live is so that he can get funding to continue this phenomenal program, and so that he can help young minds evolve into young men and women like us. Because when we first came in here, we were different. I know I was, and so I guess now it's helped me a lot in the long run. So he's just trying to help future generations become better than who they are.
Okay, folks, you just met my new PR person for Agora right here, okay? Now, I did not pay him to do this. This was unsolicited. I just asked him to reiterate what he told me I was the reason why I was doing that, and the rest of that was unsolicited. But Mr. Castro, I'm telling you, you're a bad man. I'm telling you now. All right, so I have another Richmond County student here, Miss Erica Bullard. She's from Richmond County Schools. She goes to the early college. Now here's the cool thing, folks. Erica is going to graduate high school with a 2-year degree, okay? Isn't that correct?
Yes.
A 2-year degree. And what's really, really cool is that she's going to have 3 years of Agora, no, 2 years of Agora under her belt. Okay, so that's 4 verifiable years of exposure to the engineering process, 3D modeling, 3D design, and computer programming, and all of that stuff. And that's like a 4-year degree, folks. Okay? That's what we want you to see. That's what we want you to understand, is that these are verifiable years of exposure. So when Erica goes and applies for a job, and she puts down the years of exposure that she's had to all of these technologies, that's going to count. And an employer can count that as experience. I'm telling you, when she goes and applies for that, look at her, she can't even stop laughing. That's great. Look, this is what we want for young people. We want them because she's smiling because she's excited. Her entire perspective on employment is her future's so bright. She's got to wear sunglasses. I'm telling you, she's got to invest in sunglasses. Her future's so bright. So Erica, what are your immediate plans right now? If you could be something right now, what would it be?
Well, my first plan was to be a cosmetologist, but then I was thinking, what I'm going through now through school is not going to help me nowhere in the cosmetology business.
Okay.
Anything tech is not going to help me. So I was going to do that as a side job, but on the actual basis, I'm going to be an ultrasound technician.
An ultrasound technician that can also give you a perm, right?
Yep.
Give you a perm. So she can check your insides out and then make sure your outsides is looking right. Now, I'm going to tell you something. What could you do with that head right there? Can you do anything with that? Maybe a perm, a weave? Or
be careful.
Something? Can you do anything with
A wig.
that? Put a wig on that.
A gray
That's
one,
Mr.
right?
Steve
Make sure it's
Hunter.
gray.
He's our program manager here for Agora. How you doing, sir?
Doing great.
All
Doing
right,
great.
all right. All right. Erica, it's been a pleasure. All right.
I have a individual next door had asked me something in reference to 3D display and writing code.
Woo.
Is there any way that you can sit and talk to them just for a few seconds?
Absolutely. I could do that.
I'll go and let them know that you're on the way.
I'm
and
on my
I'll let
way.
them know that you'll be live when you talk.
I'll be live when I talk with
Okay.
you. All right. Fantastic.
You talk
Pokemon game. Pokemon. So when you go over there and talk to them about Pokemon Go game, about how all that's getting ready, and the important thing they need to do is learn to write the Python so they can write the JavaScripts when they make their simulations. Because that's where it's going to rain. In the next 36 months, when true 1080p phones come into the marketplace, there'll be a lot of jobs there.
Are they doing the
And
planes?
that's why they need to do the coding.
Excellent. Hey, this is Mr. Chad Osborne, STEM master teacher here at Agora.
Are they doing the planes this year where they can build their own lands?
Absolutely. That's what we're doing. That's what you're doing. That's what you're going to be doing. All right. We're live here at Agora. This is what Agora looks like. This is what it looks like every Saturday. Kiana, wave to the camera. All right. We're going here back in here. We're going live back into the 9th grade classroom. I'm going to speak to a parent real quick. This is how we do it in Agora. So for those of you that are even in
Hi, Mr. Ed.
see you later. Okay, who do we